Hello, good morning. Welcome to the Youth Advocates Saturday morning worksheets. Today we'll be talking about understanding consequences and interaction with authority figures in school, at home, because the parents are authority figures, and in public. Basically, everything that we talk about today, it applies to all, whether you're talking to the police, whether you're talking to the principal, the teacher, counselors at school, teachers, any staff, or your parents, or any other authority figure or a figure of authority. So let's get right into it. First, I want to say this is that working in behavior modification and being a advocate for youth through my own youth program and as a behavior interventionist in the school system, I have realized that not all, but a lot of parents are not teaching their children about consequences, not teaching their children about how to interact with authority figures and respect for authority figures, and teaching the child that for every action there's a reaction. It's consequences for your behavior. And as I explain to youth all the time, whether I'm in a home working with behaviors or in the school system working with behaviors or in, different rec centers talking to children about behaviors, you have to understand that consequences goes both ways. You can have good consequences or you can have bad consequences. It all depends on your action. It don't always have to be bad. It depends on your actions. You know, we need to start asking our children sometime when we're in their room talking to them, or we at the dinner table. Let's start talking about consequences. What are consequences? Explaining to them what consequences are. Consequences is the reaction of what you did earlier. Whatever you did earlier, whatever behavior you displayed earlier, whether it's good or bad, you have a reaction from that, which is consequences. What happens next? If I study for a test 2 or 3 days in a row and the test is Thursday, guess what? The consequence is going to be, I'm probably going to make a good grade. That's the consequence of studying. If I do wrong, if I do bad in school, if I do wrong, I do bad at home, the consequence is going to be bad. Whether my parent take my PlayStation 4 or whatever, or whether I'm in school and I go to in-school suspension and get suspended. And you must start teaching them they have to accept the consequences. If you're willing to do the crime, you have to do the time. Consequences. Why do we have consequences? Talk to them about it. Why do we have consequences, baby? Why do we have consequences, son, daughter? Because consequences help you learn from your mistakes. Consequences also encourage you to do better or encourage you to do more. It plays two different games. You can either have consequences that make you do better or make you change your mind or make you change your negative behavior, or you can have consequences because you did good to inspire you to do better and do more. We need to have these conversations with our children about consequences. Okay? That's why we do it. That's why consequences exist. How do you feel about the consequences you're facing? Ask that question. Okay, son, you got suspended today. Okay, daughter, you got suspended today. How you feel about these consequences? What you think you could do the next time not to get suspended? Let's try to be more proactive than reactive. Now we're being reactive because we got to correct the problem at home. Right? So how do you feel about it? Ask them, how do they feel about it? Even if they do good, they make a basketball team. They create a science project and get an A for it. And then you take them out to dinner or you buy them this gift that they always wanted. How do you feel about it? Start asking kids how they feel. Start asking kids what they want, what they need. And explain consequences. Start talking to consequences. Start talking about consequences. Let them understand that they have consequences in life. We all have consequences. It's not that life is not fair. We all have consequences for our actions. And we need to start teaching that, because so many times I see students And I see children in homes, when I'm in homes working with kids with behaviors, they don't understand why they get the consequence. They just think it's a free world and they can do what they want to do. Because really, this time in our lives, in this society right now, a lot of our children have so much. They're given so much, they feel they're entitled to anything. They feel that they shouldn't be reprimanded for anything, you know. So we need to start teaching our kids about consequences. Enough about consequences. Let's move on to interaction with authority figures. Again, working in the school system, working in homes, I see youth, children, no respect for authority figures. You know, no concern about how authority figures feel or what they have to go through to get the student or the child to do what they're supposed to do. Our kids must understand that they have to respect authority figures. Now, I'm not saying that authority figures have this almighty power that they can't respect the child also. Everybody deserves mutual respect. But we also need to understand that the child needs to stay in the child's place. We need to understand that. So we need to teach our children about authority figures. When I say authority figures, I'm not talking about just the police. I'm not talking about just the principal. I'm talking about grown-ups, period, of people that hold authority over them. Even the babysitter. They need to respect that. We need to look at the difficulties that our children are having with authority figures. What are the difficulties that they're having with the authority figure? Why do they have a problem with this authority figure? And ask them the question, what's the problem? Why do you have a problem with the principal? Why do you have a problem listening to your dad? Hey, Dad, why do you have a problem listening to your mom? These are the questions that you need to ask and talk about it. Ask them what happens to them emotionally when they're talking to these people. You know, baby, how do you feel when you were talking to the principal? Like, does he make you feel uncomfortable? Does he make you feel angry? What is going on when you're talking to these people? Why are you feeling this way? You know, you need to ask those questions. Then ask them what caused them to become angry when they're talking to the authority figure. What triggered them? These are the things that we need to start asking our children so our children can start learning that listening to authority figures is not an issue. It's not as difficult as they want it to be. Okay? It's not a problem. It's just something that we all have to do. We all have to listen to authority figures. Everybody have a boss. Everybody has somebody that's going to tell them what to do. We need to start teaching our child that. You know, I work with middle school kids and high school kids. A lot of kids think that if they become a CEO of a company or a business, that they're not going to have to listen to anybody. And I tell them all the time, you can fight to be a CEO of a company, and that's great. You can inspire to do that, and that's great. But we also need to understand that at the end of the day, everybody got to listen to somebody. Everybody got a boss. Everybody got an authority figure that they're going to have to listen to. So we need to work on that respect for authority figures. I'm going to give you some strategies to deal with authority figures. I'm going to give you some strategies to deal with authority figures that you can help your child deal with authority figures. These are some strategies, okay? Number one, they need to realize that authority figures are people too. They have vulnerabilities and they have soft spots. Authority figures are people too with vulnerabilities and soft spots. We need to teach our kid that. We need to teach our children about posture. Sit up straight. Stop slumping over when you talk to the principal. Or stop having an attitude when you talk to people, adults and everything. Sit up straight. Straighten your body and hold your head up high when you talk to people. Have confidence. Make eye contact. They need to make eye contact even if they're still upset. Even if they have a problem with this authority figure, make eye contact. Speak with confidence. Speak with confidence. Let the person know they're in the room. Not disrespect, but let them know they're in the room. Okay? Because sometimes when you don't speak like that, sometimes authority figures think you're being a smart butt. I know me being a behavior interventionist, behavior modification specialist, I kind of take that to heart when somebody can't, look me in the eye and slumped over and talking, mumbling, talking. And we know they don't talk like that in real life. You know what I mean? Because when the kids are together, they real loud. Okay? Let's go. Keep going. Listen actively. Listen actively, making sure not to interrupt or talk over the other person. A lot of times I see kids that when they're talking to the teacher or when they're having a conversation with the principal, they're being disrespectful. The authority figure can't even get a word in. They're talking over the principal, talking over the teachers. Let's be honest, you see this with police officers now. And I'm not saying, police is doing the right thing. I'm just saying you see sometimes that happens. The person is talking over them. Let the authority figure speak. Listen actively. Listen actively. You might miss something. Teach your child to listen. Teach your child to respect that. Control their breathing. This is a big one. I teach kids this all the time. When you're in a situation and you're upset, control your breathing. Take deep breaths. Count. Calm down. This is one of my favorite quotes, and anybody who ever been in my presence as a child, they know I say this. If it's not stopping you from breathing, keep moving. If it's not stopping you from breathing, calm down, keep moving. Nobody's killing you. So, control your breathing, take deep breaths. Be aware of when you feel defensive about something. Try to hear both sides. Teach your child to try to hear both sides of the story. Okay? Teach your child to be open to receiving suggestions and advice. That's a big one. Teach your child to be open to receiving suggestions and advice. Teach them that. Teach them not to be closed-minded. Open their mind. When students come into my class or come into my office, or when I'm in the homes, when I'm doing behavior modifications or intervention with parents and children, I say, open your mind. That's the first thing I say. Open your mind. Listen, open your mind. If they feel paralyzed by a question or they feel paralyzed by a conversation they're having with an authority figure, they need to think about what they're going to say. Here we go with that breathing again. Take deep breaths, think about what you're going to say before you say it. Remember, consequences are going to come with your actions, all that. Okay? Teach them this. Recognize that authority figures have to do a tough job, sometimes by setting limits and sharing bad news. And teach them not to take that personal. Authority figures have a tough job of setting limits. They have rules too. In the school, you have state rules that the school go by. You have actual rules that the school go by that the student can't do or break so they won't get hurt or it won't cause an issue at the school. The kids need to understand that. Accept that. Understand that the authority figure is not just putting these stipulations on you to hurt you or bother you. They're putting the stipulation on you because they have to do it. It's part of the curriculum. Even in your home, you're not being mean to your child because you tell them not to mess with the knife, not to put their hand on the stove, not to, you doing that because it's safety. You're trying to help them. Make them understand that. It's a tough job being an authority figure. Okay? Teach your child when they get home, or even if they're talking to you, y'all need to have feedback about what happened earlier. Y'all need to have feedback. What happened? Why did it happen? What can we do better next time to make this problem go away? Feedback with authority figures. You are an authority figure because you're the mom and dad, uncles, aunts, whatever. Have feedback. Don't just have an issue and cut it dry. That's it, it's over. It don't work that way. Look, have feedback. And I'm only telling you these things like I always say, because see, I wasn't the best parent. I was a good parent. I wasn't the best parent. So I'm helping you through this. Okay? Now, to finish this off, Always teach your child to try their best to walk into any issue positive. Make sure they walk in being positive they can be. Even if it's a bad situation. Even if they know they're going to get in trouble. Even if they know the authority figure is going to, hammer them for what they did. Walk in with a positive vibe. And always teach them, like I always say, my biggest quote I use. If it's not stopping you from breathing, it's not that serious. Take 10 deep breaths, and while you're taking the deep breaths, calm down and think about what you're going to do next. Stop, breathe, count, react. And if you do those things, if you teach your kids those things, they will react with authority figures in a better manner. Stop, breathe, count and think, then react. Now, with that being said, that's Saturday morning worksheets. I hope that you gained something from this video. I hope that me doing these videos is not in vain, because my whole thing is to help you as a parent and let you know that it's help out here. If you need me, you can always contact me through messaging on Facebook. Also, you can go to our website at .org. youthadvocates.org. And you can leave a message for me. Or you can go on our page at the Youth Advocates on Facebook and leave me a message. And if you need me, I'm here for you. I'm readily able and ready to help you with any situation you have. Anyway, with that being said, y'all have a good morning, a good weekend. We love you from the Youth Advocates. We out. Peace. Saturday morning worksheets.